here for HJ Res 42 and HJ Res 61. And with that, I would yield to Mr. Jack of Georgia.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And first, I want to thank the ranking member for your comments on Mr. Diaz-Balart. And likewise, I want to commend the chairman for passage of HJ Res 20 last week. And to the ranking member, I've got to at least rebut on behalf of my constituents as it relates to that very specifically. You know, the issue last week that we found was that a company within my congressional district that manufactures water heaters, non-condensing tankless water heaters, was the victim of this rule and regulation. I think you find that a lot of its competitors wanted this rule to go forward because it limited competition in the American workplace. It would have put these folks out of business. So I'm proud that we passed that. I want to commend Chairman Guthrie for your leadership on that issue specifically, and look forward to seeing what happens in the Senate. But I did encourage and I did welcome our debate last week on the floor. On this specific resolution that the chairwoman just noted, I want to thank Mr. Griffith for his leadership. You know, I too have tire manufacturers in my district. I've got Bridgestone, an American company that is imperiled by this. I've got Bridgestone, works in the same county as the water heaters, so it's very a good county for American manufacturing. But if I could ask the chairman, just for the record and for everyone that may be watching, just to walk through just what tire manufacturers what costs they would incur if this rule were to go forward.
Well, they would have to do it's a regenerative, I said RTO, regenerative, I have to get that actual term in front of me, they would have to expend money putting RTOs, it's regenerative, I got the one in front of me, let me find exactly what that stands for, so I'll make sure I get it right for the record. But they will have to expend money to for the hydrocarbons out of the air that I don't have the exact number, I'll give you the number, but hydrocarbons out of the air that really didn't have a finding through EPA, but they would also have to expend energy to do that. So the argument is that they would have to use more CO2 than is normally required. So instead of getting a minimal or no benefit from one pollutant would allow the other, what some others would call a pollutant as well, with an increase in the others.
And we found this rule was issued just after Thanksgiving, which seems consistent with the last administration's policy of issuing rules right after holidays when not a lot of folks are watching. And I just was curious if, for the record, you could walk through, to the extent you're familiar with the history of it, how did this come to be at the time that it came? What data did EPA collect to put us in this perspective?
So the word for RTO is regenerative thermal oxidizers. I'm not familiar with the data that they brought forward.
Sure. And then as it relates to the other resolution that we're debating here today, curious was with respect to some of the appliance industry, some of the requirements and regulations that were foisted on them through this most recent rule. Could you walk us through, for manufacturers of those appliances, what these labels would, additional challenges that would come from some of the labeling process?
Well, a lot of them are duplicative, and into ongoing reporting requirements, they have to submit to EPA, and they already submit to EPA in the Energy Star program, and it requires the collection of unnecessary data in order to meet the collection provisions. And the unnecessary and duplicative nature of this final rule will increase work for manufacturers while doing nothing to lower costs for consumers.
Well, I want to commend your committee again on passage last week. That was very important to my district, very important to my constituents, and likewise to Mr. Griffith. Appreciate your leadership on this specific resolution, and with that, I yield back.
Thank you. Ms. Scanlon.